Alter, jetzt kann man auch noch Sachen ja verbessern und Satellit der Liebe. Endlich ein Satellit, der schneller antwortet als deine Mutter. Autopieps, wozu arbeiten, wenn Autopieps das für dich erledigen kann? Bald musst du nicht mehr aufkreuzen. Interferenzfilter filtert weißes Rauschen buchstäblich aus der Übertragung. Jetzt musst du dir nur noch Gedanken darüber machen, ob jemand, ob euch jemand aktiv hackt. Und das passiert nie. Okay. Groovy VM. Wenn du während eines Musikbeitrags einen Bildschirm auswählst, wartet der äh, Bildmischer auf den nächsten perfekten Rhythmuspunkt und wechselt genau auf den Schlag. Digga, das ist absolut geil. Das ist für die Wände. Das sind hier Spielsachen, die man hinstellen kann. Achso, das war die Verbesserung. Reparaturen, Lautsprecherreparatur, Ventilatorreparatur, Ventilwartung, Sprecheranlagenreparatur, Videorekorderreparatur, Annudator 99B, Linketti Switch und Zeus Ventilator. Digga, das ist absolut geil, das Game. Also wir können uns jetzt nochmal die Sendung angucken, wenn ihr wollt. Und ihr könnt natürlich dann einmal, okay, bei dem hatten wir Grade A und jetzt haben wir Grade C. Ihr könnt natürlich abschalten, wenn ihr jetzt wollt. Aber wir schauen uns das Ganze jetzt nochmal an. Let's go. Der Hase.
Let's take a look at what's in store tonight on Channel 1. Kicking off our evening schedule is a retrospective of the best moments from Peter Clement's Just the Job, reminding us just how our new Prime Minister became so popular in the first place. Following that, at 9 p.m, Megan Wolfe sits down for an exclusive interview with former Prime Minister Jacob Hamilton-Mann in Truth to Power, and she'll be asking him where it all went so horribly wrong. I'll certainly be tuning in for that. Finally tonight at 10 p.m, it's a bit of escapism with Lawrence Blunderclatch's acclaimed action movie Bullet Man, taking us up to the National Weather Report and close down at midnight. But before all that, it's time to go over to Jeremy Donaldson for tonight's National Nightly News.
Good evening, I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Our main headlines tonight. Destination unknown. At the end of Advance's first full week in office, we ask exactly who's leading this charge. Tonight, I'll be discussing what the new future might hold with a leading economist and radical freethinker. With the country's wealth creators in a state of panic and unfavourable rumblings already heard from overseas, I'll be asking my guess whether Advance can deliver on even a fraction of their manifesto promises. Out with the old, Remington's Fist have appointed Sophia Remington as their new CEO. The following photo, taken from our archive, gives us a sense of this influential young firebrand who, at the tender age of 23, becomes the youngest female CEO in history. Sophia Remington's appointment is a risk for the giant mega corporation. Sophia, as our regular viewers will be aware, has always been a wild child and has been romantically linked to several movie stars and sports personalities. In her first press conference this afternoon, Sophia announced a children's toy named Mr. Snugglehugs. Sophia promises it will be all the rage this Christmas, but concerns have been raised about the product's safety. Making a splash. Intrepid scientist Dr. David Wong and marine biologist Ingrid Swarsborgen-Horgensford have today set off to explore Dante's taint. The recently discovered cave system was previously thought unreachable, but thanks to a new breakthrough in underwater flood technology, the pair hope to successfully reach the imposing central cavern and the undiscovered plant species it contains. This is, of course, only the latest in a series of successful expeditions for this unlikely pairing. In a joint statement about the dangers their team might face, the pair stated, "We will face the plentiful challenges together like we always have." Playing the field, rumours abound as sporting legend Johnny Hamsleeves is snapped leaving Bush, one of the capital's hottest clubs. The footballer was caught while out celebrating being named Sports Personality of the Year last week, as reported by this very programme. Johnny is seen here with socialite and performance artiste Tiffany Lamour, whose recent show, Snatched Inside My Snatch, has kept her firmly in the public eye. Could romance be on the cards for these two budding A-listers? And grievous bodily charm. With Advance promising a radical new position on crime, how afraid should we actually be? I'll be going live around the country to talk with people who've seen the criminal justice system from every perspective. With more and more powers passing to the police and less oversight, are we using an Advance-shaped sledgehammer to crack a nut? All that and Megan Wolfe with a group of young actors already experiencing the positive side of the new Assets and Wealth Act firsthand. They'll be talking and performing later. That's all coming up on tonight's National Nightly News.
Dum, 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 dum.
In the wake of the government's swift enactment of the Assets and Wealth Act, we're talking about Advance's first week in office and what the new future holds. Joining me are Katie Brightman, a leading economist, and Alan James, author of Alan James is Right, The Free Man's Guide to Waking Up. Alan, the government certainly haven't dragged their heels on delivering some of the legislation they promised. But what does the Wealth Act mean for us?
Nothing, Jeremy. We're still vassal slaves, we're just in prettier cages.
A confident dismissal there. Katie Brightman, do you agree?
I'm afraid I don't, no. I think that Advance have realised that the current economic system of unlimited, unending growth is untenable, so they're changing things up.
There I agree with you. They're moving to the next steps in the grand plan.
Grand plan, Alan?
It's all in my book. Alan James is right, Jeremy. We're to become the great herd, ignorant, sterile and short-lived. That's what they want.
Or perhaps Advance have just realised that if we carry on the way we are, we will destroy ourselves and this planet in a mad orgy of consumption, if you'll excuse the colourful metaphor.
Yes, orgy is the right word. Only it'll be the overlords having an orgy on our poor broken backs. It's all in my book. Alan James is...
Shamelessly self-promoting? Katie, how do you think the rest of the world will respond to this new approach?
I think they're watching carefully. Advance are the most disruptive threat that the world powers have faced since the last Great War.
Yes, Katie's right. War is inevitable.
Thank you, but that isn't
And
what
this
I-
will not be a war like we've ever seen before. We're talking millions of deaths. We're talking high-tech weapons that can level entire cities. We're talking...
Out of the wrong orifices?
Mock me all you like, Jeremy, but when they murder your parents and they poison your food and they take you away to their camps for hypno-brainwashing, we'll be laughing then.
That might be a great way to sell books, Alan, but you know full well that isn't going to happen in a democracy.
Democracy is dead.
Yes, Advance are radical, and change is always frightening, but the truth is that the Wealth and Assets Act has made more than 90% of the population wealthier and is on target to produce a permanent end to poverty.
What this young lady doesn't understand, Jeremy, is that these are the same people. Maybe they've rebranded, but it's all a little circus act to keep us from seeing the tyrant behind the curtain.
That's where you're wrong, Alan. For a start, they've mobilised the youth vote like we've never seen before.
You say mobilise, I call it grooming. The grooming of an entire generation to walk happily into eternal bondage. They're like psychic paedophiles.
But based on the facts, Katie, what are your predictions?
The Assets and Wealth Act is only the first step. Advance now have a historic budgetary surplus, and as well as properly funding our public services, they're already funneling unprecedented amounts into scientific research and the arts.
Or, as I call them in my book, Frankenscience and opiates. Like opiates, see?
Can we get back to the issue at hand, please, Alan?
This is the issue. It's all coming from the water, the chemicals, they're pumping it full of belief juice.
Don't get me wrong, I want to see these changes, but only if they're sustainable. If Advance lose their power after spending half of our GDP on dismantling infrastructure, that could be catastrophic.
The catastrophe is that they're succeeding. They've got us sat here talking about their puppet show.
All right, we're running out of time. Quickly, Alan, what does the future look like to you?
A bleak space where we've all been figuratively sodomized into submission.
No, of course. Katie?
We might be on the eve of a brave new world. God knows we need some change, but we need to be cautious.
Okay.
Let's look forward.
Ich würde einfach sagen, das reicht, glaube ich, erstmal von dem, was wir uns angeguckt haben. Ich würde sagen, wir gucken in der nächsten Folge dann weiter. Also, beziehungsweise machen in der nächsten Folge dann generell weiter. Und dann würde ich sagen, haut rein. Bis dann. Tschüss.